Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Clayton City Council meeting for Tuesday, August 20th.
Recording in
It is
progress.
7:01 p.m. and I'm calling the meeting to order. And at this time, I'd like the city clerk to please call the roll.
Really. Councilmember Cloven,
I'm here.
Tillman, here. Juan.
Here.
Vice Mayor Trupiano.
I'm here.
Mayor Diaz.
Here and present.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. And now I would like everybody to join me as we do the Pledge of Allegiance. And begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let me announce first that I'm going to be moving item 8B up to right after the recognitions and presentations, number 5. I'm going to move 8B up to that right immediately past that before the reports from the city, just to let you know in advance. And with that, we will begin with public comment for non-agended items. And I think I have one card from Richard Nia, Senior.
I didn't put senior on there, but I am.
Yeah, but we know the difference.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Ania, and I just wanted to introduce myself to the public and to our Zoom watchers because I'm a candidate for City Council, so I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. My wife and I moved here in 1990, raised our kids here, all went to local schools, although our kids couldn't go to Mount Diablo Elementaries because they said that it was full. 34 years later, it's still the same, they're full. So they went to Highland. So let's see. So I was a policeman here, police sergeant. I retired after 30 years of being a policeman. That was at the end of 2004. We moved away to my wife's, where she was born up in Crescent City, and all of her family was there. And I was on the planning commission, and I served on the city council 10 years. I was the mayor. So I have a lot of experience being a council member. One of them is, I was looking at their website today, their budget's $10 million, and it's slowly growing. And they had about 62 employees when I left 9 years ago, and they have about the same. But they also have their own sewer department, their own water department, so it's the only city within 80 miles of, next is Eureka. But anyway, worked on budgets, did a lot of stuff there, and I was a delegate for the California League of Cities on the Public Safety Committee. I joined that a lot. I went every quarter, every 3 months to go there. And I'm looking forward to running and hopefully winning here. And I come to almost every city council meetings, so I know the budgets and I know most of the stuff that's going on, at least what's public. And I just wanted to say that I'd like to introduce myself. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, Richard. I don't have any other cards from people in the audience. And if you would like to, please come forward if you want to speak on non-agended items.
Buenas noches, don alcalde. So I believe today is the last time we will have Mr. Pulitzer with us, correct? I've gotten a chance to work with him, being on the Citizen Finance Committee. This man in 6 months has done more than any city manager that I'm aware of for the last several years in Clayton. Outside the box thinking to reorganize us. We have a team. I was at the concert, not the previous one, but the one prior to that, and Regina, our wonderful city clerk, Stephanie was there. Her name is slipping my mind. Giant Valley. I'm starting to have senior moments. Comes with age. And I saw a team. I mean, I really saw a team. This man put it together. Things feel good. This is what good leadership looks like. And I'm sad to see you go. It's too bad that you're just an interim. And with all the politicking and spinning about the past city managers and the demands for investigations, which is only going to get our city sued. I believe that 2 of you ran against me that I would bankrupt the city. You're on your way to doing that by demanding investigations that have no merit, but hey, whatever floats your boat. This is what good leadership looks like. This is what good management looks like. We did not have that prior to this. The budget was a mess. It was a complete mess. And we were in a hurry to pass a tax without bothering to look at what was going on. We got Regina here. I'm in finance. I look at this kind of stuff all day long. She knows what she's doing. The folks we had before didn't know what they were doing. That's just a fact. But we want to have investigations over that. I'm so sorry to see you go, Adam. I wish that we could keep you. I look forward to our new city manager. I'm sure you guys did a good job being diligent and making sure that we hired the right person. There was another thing that was being said over and over again, that, oh, we have so much turnover in our city that no one wants to apply. I believe 8 applicants applied. So much for that story. And we have staff now. So it's time to look forward, not backwards. I'm not running for office. But, you know, that's kind of a theme that I'd like to see. Stop looking backwards. And if you want to look backwards, just go to the Sweet Sun City Facebook page and look at what's going on over there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gavidia. Bill Wolcott, you're up next.
I hate to follow Frank, but to echo some of what he said, I really appreciate your service here, Adam. You've done a super job for the last 3 or 4 months you've been here. I don't know how long you've been here, but it seems like it's been a short time, and I really hate to see you go. I mean, we've been through a lot over the last 3 years with city managers, and it's nice to see one with common sense that wants to bring the staff together. You've created an excellent team here with Regina and Stephanie and some of the other members of the team, and I really, really appreciate it, and thank you for your service. Second, kind of an update on the Clayton Post Office. I sent a letter to Congressman DeSaulnier 4 weeks ago, and there's been a lot going on that last 4 weeks. I don't know if you've been down there, but the first thing they did is they pulled the weeds, and then they pressure washed the whole outside of the building and washed the doors off because they were brown from dirt, and they've now paved the parking lot where the post office trucks park. They cleaned the floor inside, and now, I don't know if you go down there, they're painting the whole building, and it looks great. And I want to thank the mayor for his leadership on that, because I know he's been working with the acting postmaster. He's not looking at me. He's trying to ignore me. He's been working with the acting postmaster, and he's done a super job. And that's what leadership looks like, too. There's leadership here, there's leadership there, and I really appreciate it. And lastly, I'd like you to get that clock down here so I don't run over in time. It's hard for me. My wife said I ramble on forever, so it's really difficult for me when that clock's up there. Clayton Watts is going to send out candidate questions. We're trying to put together 4 questions from the membership that we want to send out to all the candidates, and we're going to post those questions on Clayton Watch, and we'd appreciate that all the candidates participate. I know we got 3 of them here tonight. I don't think Maria's here, but I think there's 3 of them here tonight, and we'd really appreciate your participation in the questions. We'll post it on claytonwatch.org and anywhere else we can post it. And that's all I have, and I'm staying within my time tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Wolcott. Anyone else in the Hoyer Hall that would like to speak to non-agenda items? Seeing none, and ask the city clerk if we have anybody online.
There are no members of the public wishing to speak at this time
All right,
online.
thank you very much. And with that, I will close the public comment at this time for non-agenda items. And move on to our next item, which is the consent calendar. And there are several items there. Anything that Any of our council members wishes to poll and discuss? If not, then the chair will accept a motion for approval or not approval.
Oh, public comment.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me. Let's have public comment on this. This is going to be strictly on the consent calendar. Anyone wish to address the city council on that? Don't see anybody in Hoyer Hall. I don't see anybody online unless you can add to that.
Thank you, Mayor. For those joining us online, as a reminder, just star 6 to raise your, star 9 to raise your hand. If you would like to speak to this item, please elect to raise your hand now. Okay, we're not seeing anyone online, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And with that, I will now close the public comment on item 4, which is the consent calendar, and bring it back for motion from the city council.
Move approval.
Moved by
second.
Councilmember Juan,
I'll second.
and second by Councilmember Tillman. Will the city clerk please call the roll?
Thank you. Councilmember Cloven,
Aye.
Tillman,
Aye.
Juan,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Triviano,
Aye.
Mayor Diaz.
Yes.
Thank you. You
Thank you
have
very
5 ayes.
much. Okay, we'll now move into recognitions and presentations. The first one that I have is a proclamation for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And it reads as follows. Whereas child cancer is the leading cause of death by disease in children, 1 in 285 children in the United States will be diagnosed by their 20th birthday. 46 children per day, or 16,790 children per year, are diagnosed with cancer in the United States. The average age of diagnosis is 6 years old. Whereas 80% of childhood cancer patients are diagnosed late and with metastasis disease, on average there has been over about 6%, 0.6% increase in the incident per year since the 1970s, resulting in an overall incident increase of 24% over the past 40 years. Whereas 2/3 of the children with cancer will have chronic health conditions as a result of their treatment and the toxicity, with 1/4 being classified as severe to life-threatening, and approximately 1/2 of the childhood cancer families rate that associated with very trying financial due to out-of-pocket expenses are considered to be very severe. Whereas in the last 30 years, only 6 new drugs have been approved by the FDA to specifically treat childhood cancer, and the National Cancer Institute recognizes the unique research needs of childhood cancer and the associated need for increased funding to carry out this mission. Hundreds of nonprofit organizations at the local and national level are helping children with cancer and their families cope with the educational, emotional, and financial support. Whereas researchers and healthcare professionals work diligently, dedicating their expertise to treat and cure children with cancer. Too many children are affected by this deadly disease, and more than most of them. This time we need to raise the awareness and to hopefully find a cure. Therefore, on this 20th day of August 2024, the Mayor and City Council of the City of Clayton are hereby proclaiming September as Child Care Awareness Month and support this cause that so deeply impacts families, every community across the nation. And do we have anybody representing any organization that would like to be the recipient of this? If not, I will give it to the city clerk, and she will make sure it gets to the appropriate body.
Thank you. I will take that. The members of the Nev, Colt, and Brave Ronil Foundation are not present today.
Very good. Thank you. Now, I have a couple of other proclamations and certificates of recognition. And I'm going to first do the employee recognition portion of this. And I would like to have Sandra Johnson, who's out there in the audience, and come up to the front here so I can present this to her. Hello. Can hear us. Everybody enjoys the 4th of July parade, and it happens every year like clockwork. And there is one individual who leads that effort in putting on that parade and all the activities that go with it. This year in particular, it was important because not only was it the anniversary of the Independence Day, but it was also honoring 60 years that Clayton has been incorporated as a city. Sandy Johnson has led this effort for the past several years as part of our Clayton team. And it has always been a success. People come out for it, they enjoy the day, and all the activities that go with it, including the breakfast that starts in the morning over at Endeavor Hall. So, for your valuable contributions to the city of Clayton, we would love to present you with this certificate of appreciation for a job well done.
I just want to say thank you to the staff who helped and all my volunteers, which were very, very, very few, and along with all the participants and everybody showing up. I really thank you.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Anybody from the council would like to make any comments?
I think Stephanie wanted a photo with Sandy and all of us.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do that.
Let's do it. Do you need the certificate? You got all of it?
She has it. The next item I'm going to do now is a proclamation for a gentleman that I got to know, well, it's been 12 years, I guess, 2012 that we met as a result of some downturn in the economy of the county. And as that happened, unfortunately, our Station 11, which is well represented here tonight. We really appreciate that, including the deputy chief and all the staff there from Station 11. But let me just say that the city was very concerned about the lack of, the total operation of Station 11. So the committee was formed, and chief at the time was a battalion chief. Lon Gage was assigned to us to assist us in that process. And I have a proclamation for him, and I would like to have this read right now, and then we'll bring Lon up to make some comments. Whereas Lon Gage retired as Assistant Chief of Contra Costa County Fire Protection District, known as CONFIRE, after 34 years in public service. The chief began his career working for a private ambulance company in the Los Angeles County area in 1990. He continued his fire service career with CAL FIRE, Santa Clara Unit, and the Amador El Dorado unit, where he spent the next 14 years, where he was protecting the state of California. Chief Getch then worked his way through the ranks of CAL FIRE and left the agency as a acting battalion chief. Whereas in 2002, Chief Gates joined ConFire in Academy number 35. During his time at ConFire, he worked his way from firefighter, paramedic, through the ranks to engineer, captain, battalion chief, and recently as assistant chief. The city of Clayton, back in that time period, 2012, formed a special committee to work alongside the county fire district, the board of supervisors, the county consultant to fully restore Station 11 to its full operating capacity. Chief Gates was appointed by the fire district to assist the committee and facilitate the station's reopening. His contributions were crucial to the citizens of Clayton receiving full and successful effort to reopen Station 11 because it was closed in 2012. But then he, working with his staff at the county level, secured $9.6 million of a federal grant for 2 years to significantly support the station and its reopening. Whereas families and businesses have long depended on fire services, paramedics, and disaster response teams for protection and support during structure fires and other emergencies, Chief Gates served as the Contra Costa County Fire Protection District, which was included City of Clayton, Station 11, as well as the communities of Marsh Creek, Morgan Territory. He and his fellow firefighters during times of disaster, contributing to the vital work through strengthening our community and its resilience. Now, therefore, this 20th day of August, 2024, the mayor and the city council of the city of Clayton extend their thanks and honor Chief Gates, Lon Gates, for his dedicated service and contributions to the city of Clayton and encourage all citizens to congratulate him and his noble humanitarian efforts. Chief, if you would come up here, I would like to present it to you. Quite frankly, as an aside to this, and we'll get a couple of photo opportunities, I got to know Lon very well during that period of time. And as the proclamation does not really characterize the effort that Chief Gates put into this whole effort. We were meeting regularly, and it took a lot of effort, a couple years, and the grant that he got to actually get Station 11 back up to full operation. It is a crucial element within the safety of our community, and we want to specifically thank the chief for the efforts that he put in, and the fact now that he's retired and he can go out and do whatever he wishes, but he was really a valuable asset that we had in this effort. And I'd like to let Chief speak a few, let everybody know what you think about that.
Well, Jim, I'm honored, first of all. I'd like to thank everyone on the city council, everyone here for the recognition. I'm humbled by it. But what I really want to say is the fire district is a gigantic team. And I was just one person, but it was a district-wide effort to reopen Fire Station 11. It took a lot of tenacity, which I would give Jim's middle name tenacity, because he fought very hard for this city and trying to get services restored. No firefighter, no mayor, no citizen wants to see a fire station close. And I'm really glad that we were able to, over those 2 years, rebuild the fire district and be able to reopen Station 11, along with all but one of the fire stations we closed during that recession are now open. And our overall staffing is actually higher than it was pre-recession. I think everyone here should be proud of the fire district. We're led by some incredible professionals, and every day the guys out on Station 11 and all of our fire stations throughout the county provide a very high level of service. And it was my honor to be a member of Con Fire. So again, I really appreciate the recognition. I thank the city. I especially thank you, Jim. I'm just going to take a minute more and say,
You
and
have
say,
you have the mic.
you know, somebody mentioned earlier it's leadership in action. And I can never remember in the time that I was a chief where I didn't look out in the audience during our fallen firefighter annual memorial, during our academy graduations, where you were not out there representing the city of Clayton. So I just want to say thank you for supporting the fire district.
Well, thank you. You did an excellent, exemplary job assisting us in this whole process, and we wanted to recognize you, and we have so far. And I'd like to get the whole city council up again, and you come on out here, Lon, and we'll get a photograph for our records. Oh, yeah, have all Station 11, Deputy Chief McAllister. Come on in, come on in.
Paul and I were firefighters.
Okay. Okay.
And a little more centered.
Yeah, balance us out.
Ready? 1, 2. You can just look at the middle. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks again, James.
Good seeing you.
Yeah.
Good luck on your retirement. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay, sounds great. All right. Oh. You bet. Take care. Okay. Now I have one more certificate of appreciation for an employee of the city of Clayton. One who's already received a number of accolades for the work that he has done that sets the stage for what I call positioning Clayton for success. And at this time, for the work that Adam Pulitzer did for this city, getting the organization in place that's going to make us move forward, be successful, and not have to worry and look over our shoulder to see if there's something that we may have missed. So, Adam, we want to thank you for your service. For your service as our interim city manager. It was a pleasure working with you, and literally, you did such an exemplary job that we will benefit for years to come on that, including, I think, another gentleman out there in the audience who are going to introduce in a little bit. But thank you. It was excellent working with you. I know the whole staff and the council enjoyed that short-term relationship. We wish it could have gone longer, but you have your career and you have your future to deal with. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Mayor Diaz, and big thank you to the council. You all entrusted me when you made the decision to bring me on to the team. You welcomed my feedback, and I think we are indeed positioned to be successful going forward. If you all remember the first council meeting when I was introduced, I said, hopefully you forget my name. I'm just here as the interim. I'm just here to help move the team forward. And I think, again, as the staff knows, it's one team, one focus, one community, right? That's in every one of my messages to the team. And I think we're in that position. I'm excited that our next city manager is sitting here in the audience. As you all saw at the concert at the park, I came there with my team of my 3 daughters and my wife. We had a splendid time. I really enjoyed working for the city of Clayton. I can't thank the men and women that serve this community, those out in the field, those here in the, at the council meeting. Big thank you to Stephanie. I've said it before, without Stephanie. And a big thanks to Jennifer. Those were the 2 when I showed up on my first day that said, okay, let's buckle down and figure this out. The chief here has been a rock. Regina joined us shortly after. Mala, ton of experience. I'm so appreciative of having Mala by my side, especially as we come into council meetings. We have Four Leaf joining us in community development with Dan and Jason, who's doing a knockout job out there with code enforcement. Jim Warburton and Larry working together in maintenance and engineering and public works. I think they have just done an outstanding job. I was saving this for my city manager report, so hopefully I don't forget any important people on the team, but it takes a community to work together. We live in a country where we are allowed to have different opinions, different politics, but it's important that we work together, and I think we are set up to be successful as a team, as a staff, and now we need the community and the council to embrace the direction we're going, and I believe they have, and so I'm very excited about the future. And I'll be excited to watch what happens here from the comfort of my own living room, and on the occasion send the text message to heckle you all. So, but thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Adam, thank you. You did a wonderful job with them. There's your certificate. And if we could get the council up for this one as well. I hate to keep doing that, but we need everybody in there. Thank you. Okay, those are all of the recognitions and presentations on item 5. And as I said earlier, we're moving item 8B up to this point now to the agenda, and that is to authorize the mayor to execute the city manager's employment agreement. And I'm going to turn it over to Mala for our city attorney to give us the direction on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, what you have before you is a request to authorize the mayor to execute the new city manager employment agreement. As you are aware, the council has been in the process of recruiting a new city manager, and you have directed me to prepare an employment agreement with Chris Luftus for the new city manager position, and he is in the audience tonight. Chris is currently serving as the Recreation, Parks, and Marina Director for the City of Suisun, and prior to that, he was the Deputy City Manager for the same city. He has over 28 years of professional experience in finance, capital projects, community engagement, staff development, negotiations, and facility management. The employment agreement that is before you tonight has a start date of September 16th. It is a 3-year term. It provides for a salary of $240,000 with the ability to go up after the second or within a year to $250,000 with a satisfactory review. There is a car allowance provided of $400 as well as a technology allowance. It is attached in the packet for your consideration. The salary has been budgeted for the fiscal year and is in the salary schedule that has been prior approved by the council. So again, for your consideration and for the authorization of the mayor to execute the employment agreement.
Okay, so procedurally now, it's open for discussion amongst the council members and any input you all may have.
I'm just really excited to welcome Chris. I really appreciate getting to know you during the interview process, and as you've heard some of the comments with with Adam. I think we're poised to do really good things. So I just want to welcome you to the city, and I'm looking forward to working together.
Thank you.
And I just want to, before I thank Chris for saying yes, I want to thank my colleague, Councilmember Cloven. It was fun and productive serving with you. You maybe won't say fun, on the ad hoc committee in this recruitment process under Adam and Mala's direction, and working with Gary Phillips at Bob Murray and Associates. And we did have some fantastic candidates, but Chris completely rose to the top, and we are super excited about you joining us on September 16th. So thank you for saying yes.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I will just echo my colleague's sentiments, and I'm excited for September 16th to get here as quickly as I can. Probably more excited than Adam is that Thursday's almost here. Welcome aboard. Well, almost. I'll tell you that in a minute.
I concur. Welcome aboard for the good of Clayton. I hope you stay for a long, long time and are very successful.
Thank you. And I do want to point out that Councilmember Cloven and Vice Mayor Trupiano were the team that helped screen out or not screen out, but take in the recommendations from our consultant on who are the potential candidates for this job. And over several meetings with their direction and assistance, as we've stated, that Chris Lothis rose to the top, and he's here because of that. And we look forward to him starting in September and being our new city manager for the city of Clayton. Procedurally now, do we need to get public comment on that? Okay. So I will open it now for public comment. Anyone here in Hoyer Hall that would like to address the city council on this matter? Yes, come forward.
I don't have to follow Frank this time, so I'm glad. I would like to, I know I'm jumping the gun here, but I'm sure you guys are going to approve the contract, but I'd like to welcome our new city manager, Chris. I know you have big shoes to fill. And in my 30-year career, I always hated it because I had many jobs during that 30 years. I always hated to follow a superstar. It was always easier to follow somebody that was incompetent because the only way you can go is up. So I feel sorry for you. I know you're qualified. I wasn't part of the interview process, but welcome to Clayton. This is the best little city in Contra Costa County. You're going to learn to love it. Good community. We'll support you as much as we can. Thank you.
And I'd like to thank former council member and mayor Bill Walcott for those remarks. Anyone else in the audience here in Hoyer Hall that would like to address us on this matter? Oh.
Microphone.
Hit the big on. There you go.
You guys got a lot of new technology now. It's great. Well, first off, I want to thank you to the city of Clayton. I think something that's much needed in this city is stability. So I hope that your joining on is going to be for a long time. This city needs institutional knowledge to fulfill the obligations it's made in the past and continue to fulfill those that it makes in the future. So we welcome you on board. It's a tough task. Being the city manager, hopefully you can rise above the local politics that sometimes affect different factions of city government, but as a city manager, you can be the keel to keep the city in the right direction. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in Hoyer Hall that would like to address this item? Seeing none, City Clerk, do we have anybody online that would also like to address this matter?
Currently, no members raising their hands for this item.
Thank you very much. So with that, I guess we will entertain a motion to approve the mayor authorizing him or her to execute the agreement with the new city manager.
Move approval.
Moved by Councilmember One.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Vice Mayor Tillman.
Trupiano.
Trupiano. I keep doing
Tillman.
that.
I know.
I keep doing that. Anyway,
It's okay.
Vice Mayor Trupiano. Okay, would the city clerk please call the roll on this?
Certainly. Councilmember Cloven,
Aye.
Tillman,
Aye.
Juan,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Trupiano,
Aye.
Mayor Diaz.
Yes.
Thank you. You have 5 ayes.
Good.
Congratulations.
And does Chris want to say a few words?
Well,
or-
he's going to say a few words. In fact, after Chris says a few words, we're going to take a break and let anybody that wants to come up and greet him and welcome, we're going to do that. So, Chris, come on up and give us a few words.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, thank you. This is an honor. I appreciate your confidence in hiring me for this most important position here in Clayton. I'm looking forward to joining the team, working collaboratively with the staff, getting to know the staff, the community, engaging with them, helping move this forward in a collaborative manner. One of the comments made was stability. I've worked for 3 other cities. The least amount of time I've been with any other city is 8.5 years. Once I get there, I'm dedicated. I want to be a part of the community. I want to be involved. I want to work with the entire council and really make Clayton what everybody wants it to be, and take that vision and those policies from council and work with staff to enact them to make this the best place it possibly can be. So I want to thank all of you. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my wife, who's here with me tonight, my daughter, who is at home, or actually she's at the mall shopping because she's 20, and what else would you be doing? This job takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication. It's, in my opinion, it's a 24/7 job. And that's how I've approached my career for the last 29 years. I've worked in local government. And that's how I will approach this job. And I have to thank them for giving me the grace to, when we're on family vacations, there are times that I have to do work and I have to do what needs to be done. And they give me that grace to be able to do that. And I couldn't do this without them allowing me to dedicate as much of myself to the job as I need to. So I thank them, and can't wait to start on September 16th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris, and we look forward to you joining the team. All right, we're going to take a short 5-minute break, and anybody that would like to meet Chris, go right ahead and do so. Thank you.
You said 5 minutes?
Yeah, about 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Recording stopped.
Call the meeting back
Recording
to
in progress.
order. If everybody will take their seats. And I hope everybody had a chance to meet Chris and get to know him as best you can in these few minutes. Good. And we're going to call a meeting back to order at 7:50 p.m. And we're going to go now into item number 6, which is reports. And the first one up, city manager reports.
Thank you, Mayor Diaz and council members. I think I expressed my gratitude in my report on this surprise of the certificate of recognition, so thank you. The only item that I'd like to just share, because I should have done this in closing there, is, as you heard, and welcome Chris to joining our team as the city manager come September 16th. Regina Rubier, who is your assistant city manager, administrative services director, will be serving as acting city manager effective this Friday, the 23rd. My last day officially is on Thursday, the 22nd. So I just wanted to make sure the public knew that it's in good hands with Regina serving as the acting while we wait for Chris's arrival. And I can speak for the rest of the team, knowing that the executive management team will be right there with Regina to keep the ship going in a positive direction. And I said to Chris when he came up here that whatever I wasn't able to get done, Regina will have done by the 16th. So he's in great hands. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you,
again, that ends
Mr.
my
Interim
report.
City Manager. Thank you for your leadership.
Hey, Jim, can I?
Go ahead.
Now that we've appointed our new city manager, I did want to just start by saying how much I appreciate you, Adam, and the work that you did. When you come in as an interim, your mindset is always different. You have to really focus on what you can reasonably accomplish in the time that you're given. But you wouldn't know it if in working with you. The way that you address the challenges that we've had that, I think some have been overdue, some is newly uncovered, but just your overall approach, your candor and direct and clear communication is just really appreciated. So I wanted to make sure that was known. And just overall, just thank you for your leadership, your guidance, and your counsel. So thank you.
Anyone else?
Well, and I have said this to you personally, but I do want to say publicly, it's been just such an honor and a privilege working with you, and I don't want to get emotional, but it's really been a treat. So I am going to miss you. I'm excited about Chris. This is not tears of unhappiness. But you've taught me a lot. I've learned a lot. I've listened a lot, and it's really been a pleasure. And so thank you for what you've done for our city. You righted the ship and you got us back on track, and you brought this wonderful team together and some new members. And so thank you. I really appreciate it.
Great. Councilmember Tillman.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Can you guys hear me? These mics are weird. Oh, okay. Adam, thank you. I have to say, coming in with no one except for a couple of people, and then deciding that you were going to just stay here and power through it and build a team is commendable. I know it was not easy. I know that you were retired and you were enjoying retirement. You have told us many, many times in public sessions and in our weekly meetings. But to Chris's point, your family has to buy into that. And when you know that you're retired and you're ready to spend time with family and really do what you want to do on a daily basis to make that commute and come out here and be dedicated to continue to get us on better footing, you are much appreciated. So thank you. I hope you enjoy your retirement fully. Don't take another job. I don't care how much they call and tug. Don't take another job. Enjoy it. And thank you.
Great. I too. Go ahead, Peter.
You're everything that I thought what you would be based on your very first interview. And I really appreciate your demeanor and candor. And I really hope your garden is as good as it's going to be when you get into it. Thank you.
Again, Adam, thank you again. And it was a pleasure working with you. It was very enjoyable on our one-on-one meetings, and the suggestions that you offered were the right ones always. So I commend you for that, and thank you for your time here with us. Okay, we'll now back to the regular agenda items and moving into item 7A, which is a public hearing. And I'm going to read the preamble to that, but then I'm going to ask the city clerk that once we get into the nuts and bolts on how we're going to orchestrate this for this evening. This is the Oak Creek Canyon project, a public hearing on an appeal of the Planning Commission's one-year extension of the Oak Creek Canyon residential plan development permit for 6 residential units located on the north side of Marsh Creek Road and the intersection of Diablo Parkway. And I'll turn it over first to the city clerk to give a direction on how we're going to operate this particular item, and then I'll turn it over to our interim community director.
Thank you, Mayor, and this process has been approved by our city attorney. Okay, so we will begin first with the staff presentation with allotted 5 minutes. City Council will then have an opportunity for questions with staff. Next will be the appellant's presentation. The full team is granted 10 minutes. The applicant will then present. Their full team is also granted 10 minutes. Then we will open the floor to public comment. After public comment, the appellant will have 5 minutes to rebut, and that will also be for the full team, and the applicant will also have 5 minutes for rebuttal. After both have had their opportunity, the City Council will deliberate.
Thank you. Mr. Interim Community Development Director.
Yeah, you took away part of my presentation. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Daniel Hortred. I'm the Interim Community Development Director for the City of Clayton. And tonight before you is the Oak Creek extension appeal. So this item before you is the appeal of the Planning Commission decision to extend the development project for 1 year. It was the second, it's actually the second, but I'll get into that later. The project consists of 9.03 acres. It's located at the intersection of Marsh Creek Road and Diablo Parkway. The project proposes 6 single-family homes with at least 1 income-restricted ADU or junior ADU. And it also includes road improvements and stormwater improvements. Oh, are we? My presentation. Sorry. No, there's the first slide. There we go. So I've already gone over that. So you can click to the next slide, please. So this slide shows the location of the project site along Marsh Creek Road and the vicinity within the city of Clayton. So you see it's in the southern part of the city of Clayton, notated by the star on the inset map. Slide. So kind of a summary of the project actions. The Planning Commission denied the project on March 9th, 2021, stating they had concerns about adequacy of the information that was provided at the time. The applicant appealed that decision to the City Council in June of 2021, and subsequently they overturned the Planning Commission decision to deny the project and approved all entitlements. There have been 2 development plan extension requests, one in February 2023, which approved the first 1-year extension, and then a second request this year in February 2024 that approved the second 1-year extension. The appeal before you tonight was submitted on March of 2024 to appeal the decision of the Planning Commission. The basis of the appeal narrative are, slide. Sorry. There. The basis of the appeal narrative are the entitlements approved by City Council in 2021. In addition, the appellant refers to a violation of the Housing Crisis Act. Approval of the 1-year extension of the development plan is the only item subject to appeal. Reasoning for the requested extensions have been due to COVID, and this dates back to the first extension as well. However, the project developer has stated pre-construction work has begun and is ongoing. Developer is performing field work to determine pipeline easements. There's a lot of pipeline easements throughout that area. And the developer has submitted a final map, which is currently under review by the city. Slide. Next slide, sorry. So staff is recommending that City Council conduct a public hearing and adopt a resolution attached to the staff report upholding the Planning Commission decision to approve a one-year extension for the development permit DP 0119 for the Oak Creek residential project. The appellant and a representative of the developer are here also with presentations, but I will stand for any questions right now.
So what was the specific reason for the second extension request of 1 year?
Well, because they were still, the way the Planning Commission took it is that the pipeline research and the easement research of the property was kind of ongoing. So there's reconnaissance work that's been happening, but they haven't gone vertical or done construction yet.
So I understand the first extension was due to COVID. That's something there's precedent for. We had another project in town that got a one-year extension because of that. I'm not sure about the second extension for pre-construction. That could have been done during COVID time. So I'm a little curious about the second one-year extension.
And so the applicant or the representative for the applicant would have to go into more detail about their the pre-construction work and the pipeline easement reconnaissance.
I'm going to need to hear more from the applicant on that when he speaks. I got another question.
Mm-hmm.
Very specifically, if this second one-year extension was not granted, what would be the result to the applicant?
Potentially appeal on the other side. They could appeal the denial.
I understand that.
Instead of appealing the opposite the way it's going tonight.
But if they were not granted the one-year extension, they would still have the entitlements. What would be the result?
That's a good question.
Is that a legal question I need to ask of council?
It's something that I might have to confer with Mala.
I'd like that question answered, if you don't mind. If we were not to grant or somehow to overturn the second extension, what would be the result to the applicant?
Councilmember Cloven, they're required under the code, because it's 5 or more units, to have a planned development permit. So in order to build, they need this planned development permit. The general plan amendment, the specific plan amendments, all of those are entitled and would not go away. But in order to construct the project, they need this permit. And so they need this development plan permit because of the number of units. It's required per our code.
Is that something that they were supposed to do in this before they broke ground as part of the permit?
They obtained the permit and then they requested an extension because they did not break ground in order to continue the permit.
Councilmember Cloven, I think the applicant can answer what is supposed, or what not supposedly, but what may transpire in the next year of the one-year extension.
The question tonight is whether or not we agree and approve of the second one-year extension that the Planning Commission has already approved.
Mm-hmm.
Is that my understanding?
Yes, sir.
My question is, if the Planning Commission had not approved it, what would have happened to the project and the applicant's project and timeline?
Well, the entitlements would have still been in place, and I assume the applicant at that point would have been the appellant, not tonight's appellant. So the applicant would have appealed the decision of denial to you and asked for approval from you and proceeded that way.
Excellent. Then I'm looking forward to hearing what the reason for the second and what their thoughts are. Thank you.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. The appellant's presenter on this have 10 minutes.
Pardon. Before we get started with our presentation, we're all going to speak a bit. And do we have a remote just for kind of jumping around? You just say yes. Ooh, tough. Okay. All right. All right. Ready? All right. Well, good evening, Honorable Council. We're very pleased to have the public forum to come and speak with you and hopefully reason with you. On this project that is before you tonight, there's a long storied history with the project, dating back to the 1990s when the Marsh Creek Road specific plan was originally envisioned. So in 1990, the city of Clayton announced that the initial study for the specific plan that would become the Marsh Creek Road specific plan. Hundreds of landowners were contacted, hundreds of thousands of dollars and landowner dollars were committed to spend and create the most significant by land area municipal planning document that the city of Clayton has ever created, the Marsh Creek Road specific plan. Among the subsections of the Marsh Creek Road specific plan, and if you can please move to slide number 4. How about 5? Next one, next slide. Yes, so the Marsh Creek Road specific plan. And next slide, please. So in the Marsh Creek Road specific plan, it created a number of different subsections. The most important and what is relevant tonight is subsection A that planned for over 114 homes to be planned in the Marsh Creek Road specific plan. All properties were outside of the city limits, but within the city of Clayton's sphere of influence. As part of the ability for each planned area in the development area to be included in planned for future annexation, the joint planning effort created the Marsh Creek Road specific plan, mandating public policies for design, aesthetics, view sheds, traffic, utilities, circulation, implementation, as a roadmap for the city of Clayton to expand naturally to accommodate the current small town feel while accommodating future growth. What is directly at issue here is the project applicant's project is currently situated among the long-standing public policy of a shared detention facility that served as the condition precedent for the project application's project to be annexed in the city in 2005 and 2003. Now, this project has been delayed by no one else's fault but the project applicant, and they continue to delay the project in actually building the city for what it was envisioned to be. If you may move, please, to the next slide. It's very small font here, but if you can see, this is all well within the Marsh Creek Road specific plan. This shows that the 114 homes were located in subsection A. Also, as pertains to the circulation, or as it pertains to the utility element and the infrastructure element of the Marsh Creek Road specific plan, it specifically calls out on that second page there that the North State property was to become the shared detention facilities for the entire subsection A of the Marsh Creek Road specific plan. Next slide, please. And indeed, this was ratified not only in 1995 by the Marsh Creek Road specific plan, but again with the city development agreement from 1997 between the city of Clayton and West Coast Homes. It specifically said that as a condition for their project to be brought into the city and annexed, it had to dedicate a significant component of the land to the shared detention facilities for the remainder of the subsection, the remaining 108 homes. The next slide, please. Now, in 2021, when this project came for approvals and sought a general plan amendment and additional entitlements, that was thrown out. For some reason, they located a sixth house in the middle of the detention basin facilities. They reduced the number of acre feet available for the shared common facilities from 7.8 acre feet down to roughly 5,000 square feet. This is a far cry from the required infrastructure needed by the Marsh Creek Road specific plan and for the remaining future homes to be built. The consequences of which really will end up creating high-density developments such as the Olivia project in downtown. It will fundamentally change the ultimate character of the city of Clayton, which I grew up in. There's few places that you will be able to say in your life, I'm from that area, I'm from Clayton, and I know Clayton is a residential community of a small-time feel and character, which this type of project, taking away needed infrastructure plans, stems the very planning principles and purposes of long-term planning. It goes in the face and it says, hey, we're going to sacrifice this detention basin to allocate 1 unit to the sacrifice of 104 units. Now, tonight, the project is not up for re-entitlement. We're not going forward, negotiating on what the conditions of approval will be. However, tonight, what you do have the opportunity to do is to deny the project, allow the project applicant to come back, allow them to come back, and you may then reinterpret or look again at the critical nature of the Marsh Creek Road specific plan. Now, this is important, especially in light that the 6th RENA housing cycle, that the housing element has been rejected 4 times for this city. We need more housing. This is the solution. The city of Clayton has long planned for its growth. It's long looked at its long-term planning policies. However, the Marsh Creek Road specific plan has never been ultimately realized, and it will ultimately culminate in higher density projects, changing the downtown.
All right, thank you, Vince. How much time do we have left? 4 minutes and 31 seconds. Do you just want to say your piece?
I guess I should talk, all right?
Okay.
Can we pause that? There was a lot of back and forth with it. I mean, we're trying to just do 10 minutes, but there was a lot of back and forth with the...
Unfortunately, it is the full 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much. Mayor Diaz and members of the Clayton Council, thank you very much for your service. It's not easy to sit up there and do what you people do day in and day out. I actually went through and read each of your platforms before you were elected. You're very similar in your thoughts. Your main goal, I think, Jeff, one was yours. You fell in love with the downtown, the character of the feel. Holly, you wanted the same thing. You wanted the downtown to remain the same. Jim, you're running on that. Downtown, like the feel of it. You want safety. You also want the downtown the same. Peter, you want the same thing. You all want the same thing. You want to maintain the downtown as the jewel that it is. What this plan was, and the reason I'm standing here, was in I've given you all the general plan. And if you open up your binder, the first thing you'll see is a Board of Supervisors minutes meeting. So it's May 8th, 1990. I was told I was denied a subdivision in the county, and I was told by the county and also by your mayor at that time, Roy Haas, to come to Clayton and plan a larger project. On the second page of that attached piece of paper is the invitation, an announcement by the city of Clayton to come to Clayton and plan an area. On the third page is my contract, where I signed it in October 27th of 92, and I paid, I think, $23,000, and it was more than that, but that's what we paid, our fair share. And towards the end, second from the last page, is the 42 meetings, just like this, that you had on every aspect of that development. So there was a full-blown, long-term project, 42 meetings, 4.5 years. On the last page is the amount that was paid by the Clayton to plan the area. At that time, it was $468,292, about $3,200 a page for this specific plan I gave you. So if you carry this out, it's a very expensive project. But what happened here, it was planned, and if you could go through, actually, this letter up here is your 32-year city engineer who said you should not change the plan. But if you can go to the previous slide that shows the detention basin, it has an expansion of it. Keep going back. Keep going, please. It shows an expansion. It shows has a gray color and that one right there. So that's the actual applicant, the Sino property, LD, low density, and PQ. PQ is the public zoning for the detention basin. Above that, there's another zoning PQ. That's Contra Costa Water Districts for water. So the city leaders at that time decided that should be dedicated 100% for detention basin, which was spent $500,000 basically to plan it. So now what's happened is the developer Mr. Sino, who is during the same time frame he keeps asking for the extensions, he's gotten 1,500 apartments, or not apartments, but units built, approved in Pittsburgh. Also tried to get the Concord Weapons Station. That's the reason he didn't do this project. Plus, he wanted to put one there to block access so we could develop. In my opinion, it was done as a reason to basically negotiate with me, saying we have the detention basin, you can't build your 108 houses, Mr. Moita. So the city, and I read it right here, it says, do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. You have few people that have come to your commission or your council that have been working with the city for, thank you very much. I think it was 34 years, 3 months, and 12 days ago, I was notified by the city that you wanted me to work with you, and I did.
Sir, that was your 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moita.
Thank you.
Any further presentation from the appellant? All right. Seeing
Mayor,
none.
at this point, we would move to the applicant. They've had their 10 minutes, so we'll
Oh, we
move to
want to
the
get the
applicant.
applicant, correct?
Correct.
No, but I'm asking if there was any more comment from the appellant.
They're limited to 10
Okay,
minutes, and they'll
thank you.
have rebuttal.
All right. Next.
Mayor Diaz,
Yeah.
Council, good morning or good afternoon. I'm David Fish. I'm a forward planner for the developer. So I've got some slides here to go through, and then our engineer, Doug Chan's going to take over for questions. So first slide here, you can go to the next slide. So the key dates that were mentioned before. June 29, 2021, approval of the general plan amendment, specific plan amendment, the actual tentative map, the DP and the TRP, which is a tree removal, and the development plan. The effective date of the general plan amendment, specific plan amendment as well. In July 2021, adoption of ordinance 483, which is approving the zoning map amendment. August 2021 is the effective date of the rezoning ordinance, which is the tentative map, development plan, tree removal plan. And then in February, as mentioned, is the approval of the one-year extension of the development plan, which has no effect on any of the other approvals. And then February of 2024, approval of the one-year extension of the development plan. That's the one being appealed. That was also has no effect on the other approvals. Next slide. So the key issues, the 2021 entitlements cannot be appealed. Right now, it's just the appeal of the one-year extension. Moita is appealing the February 2027 approval to extend the development plan permit, DPO 109, for 1 year. Next slide. So Moita's appeal letter, the assertions are, project violates the Marsh Creek Road specific plan. Number 2 is inadequate detention basin sizing. 3 is city's failure to comply with the state housing element law. 4, general plan amendment 218 and specific plan 118 have not been incorporated into the city of Clayton's general plan and specific plan in accordance with the government code, section 65359. And 5, claim under code civil procedures 338. All of these are not relevant to the development plan extension. Next slide. So I'll just go through them in order. Number 1, project violates Marsh Creek Road specific plan. Response, West Coast is, the claim is beyond the scope of what can be appealed. City Council has already determined the project to be consistent with the Marsh Creek Road specific plan, among other requisite findings in approving the project in 2021. The Planning Commission decision in February is limited to the extension of the development plan permit only, and that cannot reopen any previous 2021 approvals by City Council. Number 2. Number 2 is inadequate detention basin sizing. The claim is beyond the scope of what can be appealed. In approving the project in 2021, City Council already considered all public comments, including those raised by Moita, which comments including the size of the detention basin, width of the road, connection to Moita property, sizing of utilities, etc. After consideration and deliberation, the City Council found the project to be consistent with the Marsh Creek Road specific plan and approved the project. Furthermore, in 1995, the MCRSP predates the current stringent stormwater treatment requirements, which is the C3 provisions for the municipal regional permit, which requirements go beyond simple detention and which MOISHA would be subject to currently. Next slide. The city's failure to comply with the state housing element law. This also is beyond the scope of what can be appealed. We understand the city is currently cooperating with the Department of Housing and Community Development and is close to having an approved housing element. MOISHA seems to want the city to annex this property, but the MOISHA project is outside the city limits, as well as mostly beyond the voter-approved urban limit line. Next slide. GPA 0218 and specific plan have not been incorporated into the City of Clayton's general plan. Specific plan in accordance with government code is the claim. West Coast response. Claim is beyond the scope of what can be appealed. The approval itself incorporates those amendments into the general plan and specific plan. So the appellant is free to submit an application to further amend the general plan and specific plan. And last claim. Under the Code of Civil Procedures 338, the claim is beyond what scope of what can be appealed. CCP 338 is the statute of limitations for a lawsuit. Next slide. Those are all the slides. I'm going to turn it over to Doug Chen, who's our engineer, to answer some questions.
Thank you very much. Okay. We've got another person. Okay.
Sorry about that, Mayor Diaz and council members. I just want to make sure I answer your questions. I think Councilmember Cloven, you asked a specific question on the second year, 1 year extension. What would we have done if that second 1 year extension had not been approved?
I understand the reason for the first year. I need to have some clarification of what the reason was for the second year and what would happen, had the City Planning Commission denied that second year extension.
Thank you. The first extension was COVID, as you pointed out. Second, it's not like we haven't done anything. We had been working on the plans all along. We contacted the petroleum companies. We have numerous pipelines along the property line that abuts our property against the Moitas. In fact, one of the pipeline may be even into the Moita property. We had to make sure that we know exactly what those pipelines are, and we had done several excavation work out there to determine the exact locations of the pipelines. We're pretty close to it. There's the petroleum companies, they don't know exactly where the pipelines are. They went out there and marked the pipelines for us, but after excavating with vacuum excavation, we were not able to locate some of the pipelines. We're going to go back out there again within the next few weeks and trying to find the pipelines that we couldn't locate. The reason we need to do that is because we're extending the road through our property to the Moita property so that it will allow their development to occur. It's odd that they're opposing our project, but yet they need the facilities through our project in order to even build their project. What I would, the concern is housing, right? We need housing. We need affordable housing. But one of the things that the Moitas can do is to actually submit a permit application to the city so that we have a better grasp of what it is that they're trying to do so we can size our utilities accordingly. We have submitted actually engineering plans based on what we think we'll need, but we don't know what they have in the future. Do they have 50 lots or 100 lots? So that's in the works. The plans are with the city right now, going through the plan check process. So that's the reason for us having to ask for the second extension, because we're not quite done with that excavation work to determine the pipeline locations. On your question about what if the Planning Commission had denied our development permit application, so our entitlement, we still have the best intent map. The general plan amendment, that was all approved. What we would have to do is resubmit our development permit, which is mostly has to do with the building architecture, design review. we would be, we're happy to do that. But, we would most likely appeal, if the planning commission had denied, we would have appealed. If the city council had denied, then we would just have to submit a new development design review booklet. And on the question on, I think it was the question on our planned activities. Again, we're doing the field investigation work right now. We're going through a grading plan check. We're going through final map plan check, and going through improvement plan check, coordinating with CCWD on getting their design done, and then also submitting our plans to PG&E to get the PG&E plans approved. I'm ready to answer any more questions, so I don't have any more to add. Okay, all right. Okay.
Has the project changed at all? Changed in any way that's inconsistent with the conditions of approval that the council approved in 2021?
It has not. The only thing we might add is that we're looking at maybe modifying one of the floor plans to offer more affordable ADUs. That's what we're looking at. But that doesn't change the architecture of the building.
That is the end of the 10 minutes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with both the applicant and the appellant have now made their 10-minute presentations, we're going to open it up to public comment on these items. And if anybody would like to speak to this, please come forward.
Once again, Richard Ania, and I'm on the Planning Commission. And thank you, by the way, for reappointing me for a second term. That was the exact reason that he spoke about is why we extended it. They hadn't found all the pipes yet, the pipeline, from the pipeline people, because their maps were not exact. And so that's why we extended it the year, an extra year. They didn't want them building under a pipeline and causing further problems. So I just wanted to say that. That was the reason that we voted unanimously to give them that extension, to give them a chance to find the pipelines. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ania. Anyone else wish to address this item under the public comment section?
Mayor, the appellant does not get to speak under public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. No one else in Hoyer Hall wishes to address the City Council on this item. Do we have anybody, Madam City Clerk, online?
There are no hands raised for this
Nobody
item.
there. Okay, then we'll close the public comment on this at this point. And now we move into rebuttals. And first up for 5 minutes is the appellant. Bless you.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much. If you look at the last page.
Turn on your microphone.
Sorry.
There, thank you. If you look at the last page of your folder there, you'll see a letter that was submitted yesterday to City Council from Yimby Law. It's a law firm that's a nonprofit that represents the goals and the objectives of building housing in California. Their interpretation is that there was a violation. I'm not an attorney. I have two sons that are attorneys. Their statement to me is you really don't want to get in a lawsuit. You want to settle. Lawsuits just cost money. So that's where we're coming from. Our goal is for you to look at this letter carefully, read it, have your counsel read it, because they're saying that there was a violation when it was approved in 2021 because the California housing crisis law said that you could not downzone anything, and they said that when you're basically blocking the detention basin, you remove that, which is a downzone. That's the logic, and so I request you read that. because they're saying it is, and you may want to have independent counsel take a look at that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then in addition, you know, the development permit that is in front of you, if it were to be rejected, they would have to resubmit for the development permit, and it would have to be, you know, consistent with, still with the Marsh Creek Road specific plan. It'd still have to be consistent with the policies. So if they were to be denied today, they would have to come back. And that's what we're asking. We're asking for a fresh set of eyes to look at the plan as it pertains. And when you do look at, and then they do have the vesting tentative map, which may expire, but if they look at it and it's inconsistent and you find that, then you have the ability to relook at the plan. And it's as if you, in that decision to change the land use, you shot yourself in the foot and in terms of building more housing, and it's either, you know, you treat it, or are you going to have to amputate further up? There's going to be more housing built.
So there was one other thing, is that, are these going to be sold, or is one of them going to be held to hold my property hostage? You may want to ask the applicant that. The one that's being built in the detention basin that was never going to be built for 1995 to 2021. That was a detention basin. Now there's one house there. So put yourself in that shoe of the owner of that building. Would you sell that building, or would you try to get the 100 units from the adjoining property?
Hey everyone, I'm Joe Moited, Jim's son. I was born and raised on the property. Essentially the topography is very hilly, so there is 164 acres up there, but the best place to put the detention basin is on the Sino property, and that's why it was designed that way. So kind of the choice before you guys today is, do you let him build one house on there, or do you try to keep the detention basin there? And, you know, maybe one day we're able to build 100 houses, help the city out, comply with the RENA numbers, and that's kind of the choice we think is before you today. That's really it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Does that conclude your remarks? Yes. Thank you. Okay, now the applicant has 5 minutes for rebuttal.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Just want to reiterate that I read the MB letter, and that's asserting that there's a Housing Crisis Act violation due to the Entitlement Act action in 2021. I just want to remind everyone that this is an appeal on the development plan, not the entitlement action in 2021. Even if you were to uphold the appeal, it does not undo the 2021 entitlement action. So even if there's a violation, there's still a violation. Tonight's action has nothing to do with that. And on the stormwater issue, I think the Moitas keep pointing to the detention basin. We did not use the entire, what was pointed out as PQ as detention basin. There's still a substantial area for the detention basin. And state law has changed on stormwater treatment. You cannot just let stormwater just roll down the hill to a detention basin. You have to treat on site. That's a mandate. That's a requirement. It has not, whatever the city council may have on a specific plan, the state law says that you have to treat your stormwater. You have to do C3. And that's a requirement that the Moitas will be subject to regardless of what you do with the specific plan, the general plan amendment. You have to comply with state law. So I want to make sure that we know that's out there. And that's pretty much what that's all I got. Okay, thank you.
Do you wish to add any further comment? No, I'm back there, gentlemen. Okay. All right, now that brings us back to the City Council for any discussion and deliberation on this matter. And I'll turn it over to Council Member 1.
I didn't have my mic on intentionally.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn it off.
Okay. Councilmember Cloven.
We have experience with development projects in Clayton. I got crucified by the public for allowing a one-year extension on a project in Clayton a couple years ago. The reason for that extension was a lawsuit by the public and COVID. Legitimate reasons for a one-year extension. And I feel the one-year extension which you received for COVID is legitimate because you couldn't do much during that time. The second extension, if I had given a second extension to this other project, I would have been also crucified. Related to finding pipelines. I do drilling and construction as part of my business. I know what finding pipelines looks like. I know the efforts that are doing that. I don't understand why you couldn't find the pipelines in 2 years. I just don't. It doesn't make sense to me. It sounds like a great excuse to me. You got this approved in March, was it February? And it was appealed in March, so now we're here in April, so we're 5 months later, or August rather, we're 5 months later. I get that a denial of your second year approval would just cause you to have to go back to the drawing board as far as the aesthetics of your project. But I'm having a challenge agreeing with the Planning Commission and the logic for the second year approval. Because I think you could have done that in the first year. I'm not saying I disagree with them, but I think I need some more time to evaluate it, because I think if I had done this for the other project, there would have been hell to pay in our city. And I think we're talking about precedents here. And I think that without seeing the data that you created, your desire for the second year appeal, I have a challenge with it. I want to see the data. And how come you couldn't find those pipelines? Because quite frankly, I know how to find pipelines. That's what I do for a living. So that's my challenge. I would like a little more time to see what that is, and rather than to just approve it just because the Planning Commission did. That's my take on it. And I would like to request 60 days to see what that looks like. And that's my formal request.
Thank you, Council Member. Anybody else on the City Council wish to address this?
I have a few questions just for information. So, in no particular order, maybe staff could assist a little bit. There's extensions going on because I'm assuming construction hasn't begun in earnest. So when do the need for extensions cease as if the project were to continue? Do we know that? Maybe that's.
They don't. I mean, the applicant has the ability to apply for one-year extensions.
Let me rephrase.
Okay.
If at some point, if the project is commencing construction, they won't need to seek extensions anymore at some point, right?
Yes.
What's the trigger for that?
Well, the trigger for that would be to begin site work and go vertical.
Okay, got it.
But one thing should be noted, I mean, they have been working on the final map and the improvement plans over this time too, which were submitted last week. So there's also a little bit of progress in terms of engineering documents and getting approved by the city.
Okay. Just to clarify my understanding, the basis for extension in our code is described as good cause. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Okay. Do we define good cause?
No.
Good cause would
be progress towards project completion. So anything within that realm.
Okay. Like, I guess my question more just generally is, how should we as a council evaluate good cause? Like, what's the basis that staff's recommendation that we utilize for the assessment of good cause?
Well, in this case, I think good cause was site reconnaissance, preparing the engineering documentation, or the engineering documents to be approved. I think all that is progress towards the project continuity.
Okay, and in the staff report, it says it is the staff's opinion that the applicant has shown good cause and recommends approval of the extension. I think I'm reading the staff report from the planning commission meeting, but I think that's essentially the assessment of the staff.
Yes.
Okay. The one item, and maybe our city attorney could address, we did receive a letter, it was late today, I believe, is when council received it. I did have a chance to read it, but I would ask that our city attorney kind of address some of the points in there for our understanding. Your mic.
Sorry, thank you, Councilmember Juan. Yes, we did receive a letter from YIMBY Law. Their letter really is specific to the general plan amendment, but that the council approved back in 2021 and not specific to the item that is before you, which is the development plan permit. They are alleging that as a part of the general plan amendment that we did not comply with the Housing Crisis Act of 2019. And by approving that general plan amendment, we have in effect downzoned property that doesn't exist within the city. So I do want to clarify, I do not agree with the analysis in the letter. I have had an opportunity to review it. When you approved the general plan amendment in 2021, you upzoned the property and you allowed for more density in the city than currently existed prior to that general plan amendment. So I do not think we violated the Housing Crisis Act. And again, I want to reiterate that's not before you because it is the development plan permit that is before you for consideration, just the extension.
Thank you. So to clarify, during both the appellant and the applicant's presentations, there is a lot of time spent on I would say, a variety of issues, but I think we are limited in the appeal to the one specific issue, and that is whether, I'm trying to isolate it into one sentence, essentially. That is whether good cause existed or exists sufficient to grant the extension. I mean, that's
absolutely correct.
Okay. Everything else is not germane to the question before us?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Just trying to, I mean, there's a lot of material, so I want to make sure that we have a good understanding of it. Okay, I'm still considering, but I will pause.
Thank you for the clarification, and Councilmember Tillman.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question, perhaps, maybe for our Community Development Director. A development permit requires what exactly? In order for you to have a development permit and extend it, or provide an extension, so it reads, a request for an extension of the development plan permit for the project. While construction of the project has not yet begun, the applicant has indicated that pre-construction work has been ongoing, inclusive of a submittal of a first draft of the final map for the subdivision and field work to identify locations of petroleum pipelines within existing easements on the property, et cetera. Are there certain criteria that fall under development permit? For us to consider that there was good cause. I'm trying to extrapolate from what my colleague here was asking. So you were saying that there was a map that was submitted. The final map.
Your mic.
I apologize. The final map was submitted, yes.
Okay. And when was that submitted?
Last week.
Last week.
And it might have been the week before. I apologize.
Okay. And when was the prior draft given to the city?
Of the final map?
Mm-hmm.
That would be the tentative map, and that would have been approved in 2021.
So no other map was done between 2021 and February of 24?
No, the general, the order of approval is the tentative parcel map and then
Okay.
the final map.
Okay. I guess what I'm trying to understand is what development was occurring between 2021 and February of 2024 to get us from the tentative map to the final map that showed good cause to extend this, is what I'm trying to understand.
So the preparation of the final map, they submitted a Mylar, so it's several copies of the streets, the lots, the meets and bounds. I mean, it's all engineering stuff that they need to look at.
Okay.
Planning looks at it too. And so it's something that that they develop over time. I don't know what the time frame is. I'm not an engineer, how long it takes to do one. But from the tentative parcel map approval in 2021 to the final map, there was a sunset date on submitting the final map, and they did the week before. I made comments. They brought back the revised parcel map. I think it was Monday. Yeah, I think it was Monday. They brought back the revised ones per city comments, and it's now being reviewed by Larry and myself. Larry Thies.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to ask my colleague, who is an engineer. Can you tell me a little bit about this timing and how long that normally takes?
I am not an engineer.
Okay.
I do. So I want to be really clear about that.
But you slept in a Holiday Inn Express last night.
I did. No, I do work on projects that do quite a bit of excavation, and so I'm familiar with excavation pipeline findings. Because when I drill, I got to make sure I know where things are and what depth, and I do geophysical surveys. So I know the process. And this excuse alone is fishy to me and could have been done much earlier than now. So that's the challenge I have now, is not with the extension request, but this being the reason for the extension request. And my concern is about precedence for extensions. If we're going to talk about good cause, this excuse does not appear to be good cause for me. There could be a lot of other excuses. And that's the reason I'm having a challenge with this.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. Vice
Dan,
Mayor Trupiano.
you might as well stand up there a minute, Dan, because I do have, and I did read through all the material. I think it's very comprehensive. I did ask our Community Development Director some questions earlier today, and I don't think, with all due respect, I don't think we can compare this project to the Olivia project. They're apples and oranges. So we're talking pipelines, so I think it's a world of difference. And here I'm going to say that I have good faith in our planning commission, and I don't think they would have allowed the extension without due cause. I've asked Daniel the same thing, that, based on his recommendation. And so I am going to support our staff recommendation and the knowledge and vote of our planning commission this evening. And I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? First, let me say that I had actually gone out and visited the property last week along with Mr. Moita and reviewed everything as best I could at that time. And but I'm agreeing with the Vice Mayor in terms of having confidence in our planning director and the recommendation of the Planning Commission. And so that's pretty much where I stand on that issue. And would love to hear anybody else's, and then we can move forward. Councilmember Tillman.
Thank you, Mayor. I, too, spoke to a community development director. I actually called Dana Ayers, who was here during this project, just to get her expertise, since she was the one who brought this to the Planning Commission, to understand her thoughts on it. And the specific question that I had, which I asked earlier, was whether or not the conditions of approval had changed. Like, had anything changed from when we, as a council, had approved the project to now? And she concurred, no, it had not. So there was no reason to deny the extension. There were specific questions on whether or not there had been any plans that were brought to the city and to her by the Moitas, and to her knowledge there had not been any, that showed that there actually is a desire to continue this annexation or to annex into the city. But she also did say exactly what the applicant said, which is that stormwater is different than it was when the plan was originally written. There are different rules now with the state. So I was pleased to hear that that was everything that she had told me concurred with what you guys presented. But as I was listening to the appellant this evening, I kept hearing, I think I might be hearing some conflicting things. I keep hearing like we might not be in compliance with our housing element, that we're going to change the character of the downtown, that we're going to have more density in town. And I'm not following that. I think if you have a desire to actually build on your property, please do. I applaud you for that. But I think when this was written, it seems like the parcel sizes were bigger. So the density would actually be on your property, not downtown Clayton. So that's where I was a little bit lost on why would we be penalized because you are actually building on your property and then want to annex in and help us with our housing element. So I concur. I don't find a reason to deny this extension. And I don't see a reason why, if you have to treat the stormwater on your own property, and there are new rules now, I'm not understanding why you wouldn't have to comply with 2024 forward once you actually have a plan that you bring to the city. And I hope you do. And those are my thoughts.
Thank you. And I just wanted to add one other thing, too, that I did clarify with our community development director. Our housing element has not been rejected. We are in the process of getting that approved. It has taken some time, but like many municipalities throughout the state of California, we've had different people reviewing it and approving it, and we are still in the final modifications. And so it has not been rejected. It's in progress. And hopefully in the next couple of months, that will be approved.
Thank you. Councilmember Juan.
No, I'm good. I don't have any other questions. I think, I guess maybe I'm not good. It seems like I appreciate the interest of the Moeda family and what you're trying to do on your property, and I think that there is a process for that. The city's part in that process is probably, actually, I don't want to say the wrong information because I'm not super familiar with it, but my understanding is that the city's process or part in that process is not first. It's probably third or fourth, depending on how you look at it. Definitely outside the city limits. If there is an opportunity at some point to annex the property, that would have to probably come after the urban limit line move and LAFCO gets involved. So I think it's a little bit cart before the horse. I would say, I think what has been presented by staff and by the applicant and by the appellant, I appreciate all the information. I do think that the basis for good cause, while undefined in our code, based on the assessment of staff and the Planning Commission, it does appear that that bar has been met here. So I would follow staff's recommendation as well. So
I absolutely love that. Just want to make sure that that's heard. If we're going to make precedent that we are going to accept 1 year approvals to further projects, that the community understands that. So when the next project like the Olivia asks for an extension for good cause that the staff agrees, that the city council members don't get crucified for approving it.
Well, I think we use independent judgment.
I'm using independent judgment here.
Which is good.
I have a challenge with the good cause here, but I hear the staff has recommended it, and I'm willing to go forward with it. But they also recommended before. So I'm just being clear that we're creating precedent here on what the bar is.
No, we're not. This is not binding precedent, and that's not how controlling law works. Not at all. The fact that the term is ill-defined or undefined is a better way to describe it. That may be a call to action so that we should actually define it, but with absent that definition, then it behooves us to use our judgment in what we believe good cause to be. It doesn't set precedent because that's not a real thing.
And again, we agree to disagree. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the City Council's input on this matter and the public's, and for both the appellant and the applicant. Now we are open for a motion as submitted by the staff.
Is there specific language, Mala, that we need to use for the motion?
I think we're just looking for you to adopt the draft resolution in the packet, which is upholding the Planning Commission's decision to approve the extension.
I would move that we adopt the draft resolution in the agenda packet, upholding the Planning Commission's extension.
Moved by Juan,
And I'll second that.
second by Vice Mayor Trupiano. And no further discussion. Have the city clerk please call the roll.
Thank you. Councilmember Cloven,
No.
Tillman,
Aye.
Juan,
Aye.
Trupiano,
Aye.
Mayor Diaz.
Aye. Thank you very much. That concludes this item, number 8A. Thank you. And now we have one final action item, and that is item 8A. And I'm going to turn it to the Assistant City Manager after telling you we're going to receive an update from the City Manager's Office on the City of Clayton's strategic plan, implementation of the action plan. Our Assistant City Manager. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and whoever else is left in the room. I'm here tonight to talk about the Council's strategic plan and the implementation plan update. Next slide, please, Stephanie. The purpose tonight is to go over the implementation measures that the city is looking at for the strategic plan implementation action plan. Next slide, please. The background is in February 2024, Council unanimously approved the 5 goals, and we're going to go over those 5 goals tonight. The first one is enhance the provision of public safety resources and infrastructure. Goal 2 is to evaluate the feasibility of expanding Parks and Recreation Division. Next, please. Goal 3 is economic development. Goal 4 is support the long-term fiscal health through planning and a balanced budget. And goal 5 is prioritize funding for the landscape maintenance district. Now, the work that we need to put in between now and January 24, we're going to build a bridge to get some items that staff has identified as implementation measures, and it aligns with the council's goals. Staff will be working on this, like I said, between now and January 2025. And we'll move forward with that. So for example, goal 1, public safety, infrastructure, and accessibility. The implementation measures that we will be working on is to develop sidewalk repair pilot program to repair up to 5 sidewalks, and for Climatech to complete the installation of the HVAC system. And it's actually completed as of this week. And we'll come back quarterly to update the council on how we are doing with these implementation measures, and as items get completed, we can add new ones. We're wanting to continue, even though Adam's out of the building, we're still wanting to move this ship forward, right? Well, he'll be out. The police chief's here. I can't do anything. I can't hold him hostage. Goal 2, community parks and recreation. We're going to review and develop special events permits process to include city-sponsored events, co-sponsored events, and community-sponsored events. Part of that will be reviewing fees, insurance, and other requirements for each of these 3 categories. And we will review the purpose of Review and propose staffing needs to support these special events. Goal 3 is economic development. No action at this point. We will discuss this with the new city manager and after council elections to move this process forward. Goal 5 is the balanced budget. We're going to present quarterly financial reports in October, November 2024 council meeting to confirm that to show our revenues and expenditures and forecasts for the future. We're going to evaluate the front desk staffing needs to support organizational efficiencies, review, evaluate, and manage existing contracts. Side note here, the Finance Sustainability Committee meetings are starting to get a little bit of momentum, and this was one of their suggestions too, to move forward with this. And we'll evaluate the option of outsourcing planning services or consider it as an internal employee. And the last goal, goal 5, landscape maintenance district. We will look at issuing a request for proposal for the landscape maintenance services, review the 24-25 adopted budget with the TLC, along with the new city manager and the 2 council member liaisons, meet with the TLC to review and affirm the stated charge as established by the city council. Excuse me. And and the last one, begin visioning process, determine the long-term and short-term needs of the community for improved trails and landscape maintenance citywide. Excuse me. Our next steps. Staff will work on the proposed implementation measures. Like I said, between now and January 2025, we will update the council quarterly and bring action items to council's review for discussion and approval. I would also propose that as we move some of these items that need council's approval, and to add a section onto the staff report to show not only the council members, but the public, how that item that the council is considering refers back to the strategic plan. And then last slide. The recommendation tonight, there is no action needed. We're just here to discuss this, receive the update from the city manager's office on the implementation action plan. And I'm available for questions.
Questions from the council?
I just have one. It's not really a question, but it's more of a comment. On item 2, or goal 2, excuse me, I think that what was identified is a worthwhile endeavor that we should be doing. I don't think it's connected to the goal as it was established, though, which doesn't mean we can't do it. I just don't think that it has the right relevance, but that's just me.
Yeah, not to get into the weeds of the objectives that were discussed, but some of the objectives reached out to the community well-being and connectivity engagement with the community. So that's where one of the areas where Clayton is robust is your special events, and they're celebrated. But as we've experienced, and I've experienced working with Dana Ayers when she was here for the 2 months, the timing and the process of approving special events was not consistent, let alone the process itself. And so looking at what events are city-sponsored that are managed by the city and fall under the city's responsibility, those that are co-sponsored where we support other events so that they don't have to pay fees and insurance and other requirements can be waived by the city. Those would be done case by case. It's not just a blanket. And then those events that are done by outside organizations, and to make sure that that process is very clear, and that, as stated, I think, in one of the city's policies on special events, it's a 45-day lead time, which we're not adhering to. And we probably need to extend that for larger events like Art and Wine, as an example, something that takes over the entire community or the entire downtown, just making sure that all the boxes are checked. So We recognize that it wasn't exactly what was discussed back in February, but I think the spirit of the objectives was also including community enhancing community engagement.
I'm going to give you that one.
And this, if I can just, sorry, Councilmember Juan, I don't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to add that we purposely don't want to have a discussion about the council's priorities that were approved back in February. There was a lot of work that went in it by the council. You started with 9, you moved that down to 5, you broke into committees to talk about and identify objectives. You did that work. We want to leave that alone for now. And take the spirit of those objectives and those goals that council set and try to move forward with the implementation measures to make progress. So that in January, you actually revisit the goals, you revisit the objectives, and you create implementation measures that can be tied into the budget and do it properly, because there's no slight on the folks that were involved in leading this effort before, but this is an area where professional guidance is strongly recommended. You've heard this from me directly, that I think it's something that is important. You really only have to do it one time properly, because then going forward, you're just tweaking it. You're just amending it. You're building on something that's got a solid foundation. The goals, for the most part, you can go to Walnut Creek, you can go up to Folsom, you can go look at Palo Alto. They don't really change. Fiscal sustainability is a goal. Balanced budget is a statement. So I think as we kind of look at creating those goals, and then the objectives attached to those goals will help us lead to the implementation measures. I share this analogy, and it's very simple, but I think everybody from the youngest to the oldest will understand. A goal for Clayton, as an example, would be we're going to drive from Clayton to New York City. The objective is to get there in 3 days. The implementation measure is where are we going to stop along the way, and how far do we have to drive to reach New York in 3 days, right? So the goal is to get to New York. The objective is to get there in 3 days, and how are we going to do that? Here's the map, and that's what we're showing. So as we kind of look at your infrastructure, an easy one there, accessibility, improving your sidewalks. That's why we want to come forward with this pilot program, improve 5 sidewalks, and move that objective forward. This will at least demonstrate and help show how those implementation measures tie back to your goals, and also ties into your budget as you look at approving a 2-year budget in June, and looking a little bit longer range along the way. So that was a very impromptu continuation of Regina's presentation, but I wanted to kind of address it based on your question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, the only other thing I just wanted to ask and then add is, so we're not going over the implementation measures. It's saying city staff proposed the following implementation measures. So we're not going over those tonight.
We're asking for your initial feedback, but I think what Regina has shared is that some of these will take council action, so we would need to come back and get council approval. But we just wanted to get a sense. In my mind, most of these are low-hanging fruit, that we're going in the right direction, but some of them will require council action. Some will be under the city manager's authority. Some, like the HVAC system, we're just piggybacking on things that are already in place, but ties into the work. The TLC, as an example, we had a meeting last Monday, and we talked about a process with them to help get us focused and back on track, because there was a lot of frustration that was shared at that meeting. And so starting with reviewing the budget with Regina and Larry and Jim, I think it'll be a really helpful first step. And then meeting with the council members that are liaisons to that, with the new city manager. Again, that doesn't cost any money, but it helps move the TLC goal forward.
No, I understand that, but I think kind of what I said in the Budget and Audit Committee meeting that we just had was that maybe, like, and I use the example of Councilmember Tillman and I sitting on this Public Safety Infrastructure and Accessibility Committee, and it didn't have anything to do with climate tech and an HVAC unit. Like, to me, that project is underway. We borrowed the money. It's that project, you know, it's like a whole separate thing. I think in our mind, and I don't want to speak on both of our behalf, but more it was on ADA issues, road safety, sidewalk safety, kind of looking at that kind of public safety rather than police public safety. And so, all right, sidewalk repair pilot program, I agree. Climate tech, I don't really know. And then I was even thinking the RFP for landscape maintenance, should that not be in the LMD goal? Like, but you said you don't want us to get in the weeds tonight, so.
No, I know what you're saying. I agree. I know that we're not going to not litigate because we're not litigating. It's still COVID brain, sorry. We're not going to discuss again what we talked about in the spring, but I do agree. And so to Vice Mayor Tripiano's point, is it possible that we give suggestions on other things to do, or do you not want us to do that? But I would concur, and I would also ask, I know that you said you were going to give us quarterly updates, but at what point do you bring back the development of the sidewalk repair pilot program? Are we giving you till January to do that, and then we getting quarterly up? Like, I need to hear a little bit more about that, as opposed to thumbs up. I like how you guys are thinking, but I need a little bit more, please.
Yeah, so remember, objectives and goals are different, and I'm trying to be respectful on the process that you went under February. But if that would have been facilitated correctly, you would have included climate tech, because infrastructure also includes facilities. It includes maintenance of facilities. You're absolutely right. In the slide, though, it's corrected. The RFP, the maintenance RFP, is in fact belongs under the landscape maintenance. And so we made that change in the slide presentation. It just didn't get caught in the staff report. But I think that absolutely you can give your feedback. We're not probably seeking additional work. I think these folks already have their hands full with real work. That's why we kind of looked at low-hanging fruit, in my opinion. When we wrote this report, there were still issues with the HVAC system here, and there's probably still a few more bugs that need to be worked out, and we have two different vendors that need to talk to each other, as we know from our climate tech meeting that we had yesterday. So we're not completely done there, but we also have other facilities that need new carpet, new paint, and other things. So I think the implementation should be robust. When you do this in January, February, your implementation will be robust. The challenge you'll have is, how do you fund everything listed on the implementation list? And that's when you'll prioritize that. So again, the objective or the goal to get to New York from Clayton and to get there in 3 days, that's easy to state. But where do you want to stop? And do you want to go the southern route? Do you want to go the northern route? Do you want to stop in Denver and explore the Rockies? Do you want to swing through Tennessee and enjoy Nashville? You know, what's your route, right? And so that's when everyone, and the 5 of you and the staff, you know, will be looking at all the different possibilities to get to Clayton, from Clayton to New York, and we'll have to reach agreement on how many stops we're going to take and what we're going to see. The work which will make this effort less expensive, because a true facilitated strategic plan process is in the neighborhood of $25,000, and it may be more. But the work that staff can do in advance, and this is what we did at the City of Sausalito, staff did a lot of the preliminary work. So that you didn't have to develop all of the implementation measures, you didn't have to develop all of the objectives, and we gave you some examples of goals, and I'm assuming that happened in February. You had a bunch of goals that may have been presented to you for you to work from. But if staff does a lot of the work in advance, then that cuts that cost considerably, because you're just using the facilitator to help make sure that those goals are in fact goals, and that they are attainable, and that there's consensus amongst the council members, and that the objectives are in fact objectives and that they are also obtainable, and that the implementation measures fall underneath those objectives in a way that allows you to take that information and move it into the budget process.
Okay, so then I still have the question on the updates coming back to us. Can you just explain that a little bit more?
So I think the city manager and what's already approved in the budget has authority, to move forward. So if we have a tree trimming budget now, so if we created an implementation measure that we had some leftover money from what was spent on July 1 as the tree trimming work was happening, let's say we had a few dollars left over and we wanted to go attack a certain park and do some beautification to it to help on that maintenance, then the city manager would most likely not come back to the council to ask approval, but come back to the council with an update on the actions that the staff has taken. But an item that is outside of the city manager's authority of $30,000 or was not included in the budget. So let's say that the conversation with the Trees and Landscape Committee recommend that we do something that's not in the budget, then we would bring that recommendation from the Trees and Landscape Committee back to the council, framed as an implementation measure tied to an objective, tied to a goal, and ask the council to approve it.
So specifically for the develop a sidewalk repair pilot program, that's what I mean. Between now and January, will something come back to us for us to approve? Is that what you're envisioning?
Probably in that case, no, because we're looking at projects that are probably less than less than $7,000.
Thank you.
And what we're proposing is a shared cost.
Okay.
So the cost would be minimal to the city, and times 5 would not probably equal $30,000.
Okay, I guess the question I'm asking is, at what point does the council understand what the pilot program is? So if a resident sees their neighbor getting one done, and they're like, what the heck is that? I want to get that. And Joe says, hey, the city went in half with me, and then our phones start blowing up. When are we going to know what the pilot program entails?
That's actually a great question, and I appreciate you framing it that way.
Yeah.
So what has initiated this program is that we have several trip and fall hazards throughout the city, and the argument on who's responsible for repairing those, the city's position is it's the property owner. Then the property owner comes back and says, well, it's your city street, or it's the city's utility, or the city did something to cause this. And so we end up wasting a lot of energy and time deciding who's responsible. And at the end of the day, if someone trips and falls, they're going to sue the city, and the city's going to say, well, that's the property owner's responsibility. But then the property owner, or the person that is suing, is going to say, well, why aren't you enforcing your ordinance? Why didn't you have that corrected? So we're both going to probably get sued. So for projects that are $2,000 or $3,000, we better serve rather than legal expenses than fixing those. So the report that would come back to the council is, once we think, and it could be as soon as your next meeting on September 17th or the October 1st council meeting, is here's the projects we've identified and give you an update in that manner. Again, not asking for approval. Or we may come back a little bit later and say, here are the 5 projects we've completed, and now we want to ask the city to adopt a more formal program, amend the budget to increase it over $30,000, and let's just say it's $75,000 that we want to move forward on improving sidewalks throughout town. That would be a more formal proposal to the city. So it's still baking how we move this forward, but we think it's the right direction at this moment based on your staff's read and thoughts on the goals and objectives that the council did in February. And we didn't want to ignore it, nor did we want to wait till January to reintroduce this discussion. Let's make some progress, show some examples of success, and then build on that in January.
I like it. Thank you.
Well, and the very last thing I wanted to say too is I think again, not speaking on both of our behalf, but that public safety, infrastructure, and accessibility, we were thinking about kind of tying that back into capital improvement projects and that budget, which I think Larry presented to us earlier this year over a 5 or 10 year period. Was it 5-year or 10-year? So it would be some bigger projects I guess, as well as some smaller projects. So, but okay, so we can send some recommendations in between now and January, or you want us to wait for another
The
meeting?
council is always welcome, as
Okay.
is the
Yeah, well.
public, to send us your
You
ideas
know I
and
will.
recommendations.
Yes.
So there were subcategories that I don't want to get into at all. But with those subcategories, when would be a good time? Let me rephrase this. Is staff's recommendation that we not look at the ones that were not highlighted in the packet in the report until after January? And I think our concern as people who worked, the council members who work together on committees, is a lot of this is looking like it's not going to get seen until years down the line. And my concern is, can some of these move up sooner? So if I want to talk about some of these subcategories in January so that it gets in the 25, 26 budget, when is it appropriate to do that? I guess is what we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I think two avenues for you. One is to send those recommendations to staff now. And second, which I would say is more appropriate, is to wait until you relaunch your strategic plan process, where you confirm the goals to make sure that those objectives that you all identified back in February still align with the goals that the council highlight, and then move those objectives into implementation. So I think one of the things important to note, Councilmember Tillman, is that we ended up blending there. That attachment actually blends objectives with implementation measures. And so they should be different. So the implementation measures should be attached to the objective. So the objective is to reach New York in 3 days. We're going to stop in Denver and Tennessee, and we're going to go a really long 24-hour drive down to Miami before we come back up the coast, because we're going to just drive 24 hours, but we want to see everything along that route, right? So that would be the implementation to that objective of reaching New York in 3 days. So what's in your packet, we blended some of the implementation measures with the objectives. If you can peel out implementation measures from the objectives that are important to you or any of the other council members, send us implementation measures. Don't send us new objectives.
Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. And there's no action required, so it was to receive the report, which we have, and everybody will take appropriate steps that they need to do. Okay? All right, that completes the action items. Now,
Mayor, if we
item
could just
8A.
take public comment on that
And
item.
we want public comment? Yeah. Okay, let's open it up for public comment. Anybody in Hoyer Hall wish to make a comment? Nobody. I don't see a hand. I don't see somebody moving forward. Is there anybody online, Ms. City Clerk?
There are no members wishing to speak to this item.
Okay. Close public comment. All right, that completes that item. Now we move on to item number 9, which is council action items, or council items limited to council requests and direction for future meetings.
I have one based off of what happened earlier this evening. I think it might be a good idea for us to bring back discussing an ordinance, or to define good cause in an ordinance for permit extensions. I think that's something that we should discuss. And then I will also reiterate the same ask that I had. I know people don't like it, but I do think it kind of goes along with good governance and making sure that we have the trainings for that. And I do want to see our city thrive and move forward. And in order to do that, I think that we have to address some of the issues that occurred last year to ensure that City Hall stays stable and that there isn't further angst amongst staff and residents. I just think that it's important that we support our staff, make sure that they can do the jobs that they were hired to do without any interference. And so I'm still going to continue to ask for either we can discuss it as a council or hire somebody to do an investigation, but I do think that it's important that we don't just sweep this under the rug, lest it continue. It's not a waste of time, sir. That is those are my actions or
Thank you.
requests.
And I just have one. And I thought Councilmember Tillman was going to refer to this one that happened earlier, but with candidates now running for office, some on our own dais, just make sure we establish, again, a policy for how I think 2 years ago, we allowed people to just use the meeting, 3 minutes at the meeting, and so maybe we can talk about that tomorrow.
Yes, we can, because that's standard that we normally do, and I suspect it was just an oversight, not including it on the agenda tonight. Okay, no one else has any council items for future agendas? Okay. Council reports. Councilmember Cloven.
It's been a good summer. I enjoyed the time. I'm actually looking forward towards an event that's coming up on September 11th. We'll have our 9/11 Remembrance Day. It'll be held here again at our fire station, and they did a fabulous job. Our county fire department did putting the presentation on last year. If you missed it and you have time on the morning of September 11th, please come on down. It was poignant and it was well done. It's usually in the morning around 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
I thought it started at 10 or 11, quite honestly.
But I haven't seen the announcement. But it's we'll put it out on the city webpage and
Right.
social media. Prior to that, on Saturday, September 7th, because doing it on Wednesday, September 11th, would be challenging in a workday, we're going to do our Clayton Day of Service, like we did last year. What I am looking for is projects. I've reached out to our Historical Society, I reached out to our Garden Club, I'm reaching out to our library, I've reached out to both schools, I've actually asked our Public Works Director for projects. And this is different from Clayton Cleans Up. Clayton Cleans Up is kind of general cleanup. Here's a bag, go. This is more project-based. And what I'm looking for is any group in Clayton that has a project that they need extra hands on to reach out. And so I can put your name and project on a poster so people show up on Saturday morning for donuts and coffee, can choose from any one of those projects that are on easels and say, oh, I want to go do that one at the school, or I'll do that one at the library. And so it's a project-oriented as opposed to general cleanup. And that's going to be on Saturday, September 7th from 8 to noon. And that's the plan.
And just for clarification, is that only outdoors, or could, if they have needs, projects have a need for things indoors?
It's any project
Okay.
where you need additional hands, and the only required is you reach out and let me know what the project is, and if you can create a poster for it so people can come down and see what it is and decide when they come down to where they go. I will be putting them out 2 or 3 days early. These are the projects that are out there. If you're interested, come on down. So
Okay, great.
there you are.
Great, thank you, Peter.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, real quick, the September 11th ceremony starts at 11 o'clock.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilmember Juan.
A lot of meetings, actually. I think we met with Climate Tech a couple times. The Budget and Audit Committee met a couple times. And we met several times for the city manager appointment interviews. I don't remember how many times we met, but it was quite a few. So that's that along with a lot of local communication is my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Tillman.
Thank you, Mayor. Mine is a very limited report. I attended, it seems like forever ago, but I attended the staff event that was at City Hall to honor our employees. I felt like we had another meeting after that, but I guess it's because I saw you guys for the city manager meetings, several of those. I had a Mount Diablo Elementary Foundation board meeting on the 22nd of July, several meetings with city staff, and then on the 12th of August, I attended the Trails and Landscape Committee meeting. Our city manager already gave an update on that. In between all of that, I took a vacation with my family, and then I caught COVID for the 4th time. So it's the flirt variant is out there. It's you think you have allergies or a cold. It's not knocking people out like the other one did. But yeah, hence the mask, because I'm not contagious at all, but I'm susceptible to all the things, and I don't want to catch it. And then on the 17th, I had a She Ready event, which was a wonderful event to help build the bench for women of color in local politics and to become leaders in their communities. And it was well attended by council members from Contra Costa County, Alameda County. We also had nonprofit leaders who were speaking about their important work. So Tawn Hall was in the audience. That's for the Miles Hall Foundation, and they were talking about just really uplifting your community, making sure that they have avenues and people to reach out to as mentors so that they can get into service. And that's really about it. That and answering, laying up and trying to rest for the last 3 weeks. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Trupiano.
Trupiano, hey. We did have a lot of meetings. I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. Again, thank you, Adam, for always putting up with me every week and answering all my questions. And I really had a nice meeting with Adam and Regina today. I appreciated that. We did an agenda-setting meeting after our last council meeting on July 16th. I love the employee recognition luncheon. I thought it was terrific. Dan Johnston, a man of few words, had a lot to say, and it was really very heartfelt, and I know many of the employees really appreciated that. We had a city-sponsored special events committee meeting with Regina and Jennifer. We're working on our final draft of our financial report from all the city events, and our next meeting on Monday, August 26th at 3 p.m. will be at the first floor of City Hall. We're going to be doing a recap of the 4th of July parade with Sandy Johnson, who did an amazing job. We've had several concerts in the Grove. July 20th, we did a tribute to Mayor Hoyer. August 3rd with our staff and some of our sponsors came out. August 17th, we've had some really great turnout. We've got one more on Saturday, August 31st. That's our finale with East Bay Mud. We had several dates of city manager interviews, Peter and I on the ad hoc recruitment committee. I also attended my first board meeting and special event, 2 different dates for the East Bay Economic Development Alliance. And I'm really enjoying that. And I think Regina and I are going to be going to an event at the end of September. And National Night Out. Chief, I missed it. I was sick. I didn't have COVID, but I was so sick. I'm so sorry. I sent you a text, and the mayor, it really bummed that. I heard it was terrific. Budget and Audit Committee, I have to say this was one of the most robust Budget and Audit Committee meetings we had on August 12th. Thank you, Regina and Adam. We actually got a lot done. And there's a recap of that on our city website. And also, our Climate Tech meeting yesterday was awesome, and we're going to be getting some other updates later this week, but besides HVAC in the library, solar and EV charging in progress, irrigation controls, work in progress, we did invite Climate Tech to come back to the full council, not in September, we want to give Chris a chance to get his feet wet, but in an October meeting to give all of us an update on where they are in the project. So that's it. Thank you. Just a few things.
Yeah. Okay, basically I had the last city council meeting I attended was on the 16th, and then let's see, County Connection Board meeting on the 18th, and again the employee recognition for service. And I believe we have one more coming up, don't we, sometime to recognize those employees with 20-plus years? Because I don't think we included them at this particular round. But anyway, that's a thing we're going to look forward to. We had several concerts, barbecue committee wrap-up. They made money, car shows, mayor's conference in Hercules. That was interesting. They had a great presentation there. that I think was shared with, I think Stephanie shared the presentation with everybody on that. Is that, yes, I remember that. Okay, National Night Out. It was a very lovely evening. Not only did the police come out and coordinate that, and we want to thank the chief for that, but also Engine 11 showed up and let people see everything about that heavy-duty equipment that they have. Meetings with the city manager. That concludes my report. And thanks again to Adam for the work he did. And welcome to the new staff members. And of course, Chris Loftus, who's our new incoming city manager. And that, at 9:37 p.m., we will adjourn to our next meeting, which is on Tuesday, September 17th. And we'll see you then at 7 o'clock. Thank you very much.